This is a bit of a random topic and will also likely come across as autistic. I don't have autism as far as I know, but this video may prove otherwise. I was replaying Red Dead Redemption 2 not that long ago. It's probably my favourite game of all time. I'm not going to list all the great aspects about it, but the one thing I will mention is that it's absolutely one of the most immersive games ever created, with its ridiculous attention to detail, like 20 million animations for even the smallest, simplest actions, advanced NPCs that legitimately feel alive, to the point I actually feel like I committed a real murder when offering them. In-game days actually meaning something, with your hair and facial hair and even weight changing over days. The amount of interactions between the gang in the camp is seemingly infinite. There's like 500,000 lines of dialogue, and that's not an exaggeration, by the way, actually 500,000. I could go on and on about every single intricate detail that the game entails to make itself more engrossing, but the game has been out 6 years now, and I'm sure everyone knows about this stuff by now. Anyway, I mentioned this about Red Dead in particular to emphasize the amount of time and effort put into the game to make it feel truly alive. Lots of advertisements for open world games love to say how the game is a living, breathing world, whereas most of the time they're talking out their arse, but not with Red Dead Redemption 2. Despite all these details, there's one jarring feature that undermines all of this: the day-night cycle. For such an immersive game, the day-night cycle is just way too short for a game like this especially. You got me fully immersed. I'll wake up in camp, drink some coffee, chat and eavesdrop on people's conversations.
Arthur, stop being strange and tell her to make plans.
Go into town to play poker for about 5 minutes, only to walk out of the saloon to see that the sun has teleported to the summit of the sky when it was just morning a few minutes ago. Alright, let me go out and hunt something before going back to camp. I find a pristine elk after a few minutes of searching and... wait a minute, why is the sun starting to set? I can't have been out for that long. Fuck it. I shoot and skin the elk and make my way back to camp, maybe encountering one or two of the many open world events strewn about in the world. A few minutes later, I enter camp at the end of the day. Bloody hell, time has flown today. Oh wait, no. That's just every day in this world. A day lasts like half an hour in this game. So I'm someone who likes to get fully invested and immersed whenever playing games. Not every single game, like I'm not going to be entranced when playing multiplayer games or games that don't take themselves seriously. I like to walk slowly through towns and act in a way through the playable character how I think they'd act in game. Well, mainly on replay throughs where I know more about the game. Yeah, a bit sad, isn't it? I'm exposing myself as a fucking nerd here, but it is what it is. But still, for Red Dead Redemption 2, it's kind of impossible for me to take my time in the open world, as me chilling in a town or doing anything in the game for like 10 minutes results in the day being almost done, which is more bothersome than it perhaps should be. In other games, which I'll talk about soon, a lot of them have the same problem with their short day-night cycles. However, I'm primarily criticizing Red Dead for this, as the game is very slow-paced in general, and is designed for you to play methodically in the open world, and has gone through all the effort of putting shitloads of detail to absolutely everything, even horseball shrinking when it gets cold, to create the ultimate living, breathing world, but is not ruined, but stained by the earth rotating at a far greater pace. It makes me want to rush everything while out in the world, as the day can end any second. I want to immerse myself in the town sometimes, chilling for a bit, seeing how these advanced NPCs act, and just take it all in, but I can't when the sun is moving across the sky at an alarming rate. I said this might just be me being autistic. I do feel a bit schizophrenic saying this out loud, but fuck it. You put in a crazy amount of time to build up the game's immersion, but completely botch one of the most immersive things you can put in the game. Alright, I think you get it. By the way, yeah, obviously having fun in games is the main thing about them, but feeling more in tune with the world created just adds to the enjoyment, for me anyway. Alright, so let me talk about other games that do this, and stop cussing my favourite game of all time. So I believe pretty much every game with a day-night cycle has a short one also. However, in the ones that I have played, while still a bit jarring, There are ways to deal with this. Skyrim and Fallout, for example, I can just do this wait mechanic for how many hours I want and pretend that the whole day hasn't passed. It takes like 15 seconds. For a lot of people that's too long, but thankfully I'm actually patient and don't have the attention span of a child. Elden Ring, if I get a bit put off by the time of day rapidly changing, I can just sit at a site of grace and quickly change the time of day. It takes like 8 seconds. Although Elden Ring isn't as bothersome, it's not like it was designed to be the most immersive game in the world. Now, I hear you say, but you can skip time in Red Dead Redemption 2. As in, I can just sleep in game and pretend the day hasn't passed, just like with Skyrim. Except I can't, because if I take a nap in game, Arthur's beard would have grown to a ridiculous amount and he like lost a couple stone or something over one nap. Days actually mean something in Red Dead. I can't just pretend the day hasn't fully passed, which breaks immersion. Thankfully, most open world games do have workarounds for the day going fast, just like with Skyrim. But even so, I don't know why days just can't be made longer. I'm not asking for a full 24-hour day, just don't make them absurdly short. You know what? Let me look at a few other cycles from a few other games. I want to see how they compare. GTA 5 is the same as Red Dead at 48 minutes. Red Dead feels a lot shorter than 48 minutes, but whatever. But GTA 5 is nowhere near or trying to be as immersive as Red Dead 2, so it's less of a problem. Kingdom Come Deliverance is just over an hour and a half, which is honestly quite decent, as I've heard that game is also supposed to be very immersive. Definitely want to play those games at some point. Oh wow. Cyberpunk, a day lasts 3 hours. Fucking hell, okay. I couldn't get into that game, but I appreciate that length. I'm not sure how immersive that game is supposed to be. The NPCs don't appear to be very advanced. Nah, 48 minutes for Red Dead 2 is actually a joke. How the hell does Elden Ring have a longer cycle? What the fuck is this? Please, man. Don't tell me this isn't a problem. Finally, is there an actual reason why most games are pitiful in this aspect? Is it technologically harder to make them longer? Is it because the developers want you to see all the various times of day more frequently? I don't know. Let me know if there's an actual reason. In conclusion, developers, when making a game with a day-night cycle, especially developers for games who want to prioritize or heavily emphasize immersion, when developing the detail of all the little things and the complexity of the NPCs and more, make sure your game doesn't take as much time as me taking a shit, as it's probably the biggest thing you can do to break that immersion that you've been spending so long and spent so much time trying to build up. Yes, maybe I should try and not be as immersed into games as I like to be. Maybe I have a bit too much time on my hands that I want to walk slowly through a fictional town, hoping the sun doesn't go down after 10 minutes. Hey, at least I'm not on the level of retard as the people who play in roleplay servers. I don't stand on a porch literally all of a real life day and pretend to be a lawman or run a store while putting on an American hillbilly accent. I'm not that retarded. Anyway, there's a simple solution to all my problems on this topic. Mods. Unfortunately, I don't play on PC and my point still stands. Goodbye.